Hello, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to more Rocket League news. I know these videos have been pretty stringent over the past few months as we do approach, of course, next season, Season 7. We can expect that to be probably sometime in March, and we're going to wait the announcement. Will it be a $1 million prize pool like we saw for Season 6? But, of course, we've seen some big roster changes over this past 2 weeks, and especially over the past 2 days out there. Arguably some of the biggest roster swaps we have ever seen in Rocket League history. So, hope you guys all enjoy. As always, all of today's stories will be timestamped down below, although there's really only 2 primary ones. The most recent one we'll talk about next. But first off, guys, and huge news for Dem Girlz, guys. That roster, of course, showing up in multiple ways over the past 2 months. It was actually, first of all, guys, placing 2nd place overall in RLCS Season 6 group play. They placed 3rd place, of course, at the finals. And, of course, very recently as well, the surprising victory, their dominant win over Cloud9 at the E-League Cup has earned them a spot on a brand new TSM Rocket League team. We expected them to be signed sometime soon. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be this soon or, of course, before next season sometime. But TSM, and huge news, guys, their first ever Rocket League team will be Dem Girlz, and I cannot name another trio out there that has earned their spot on a top tier organization out there besides these guys. So huge congrats to WDG, guys. After their top placements over the past 2 to 3 months, they have been signed to TSM of all teams out there to actually join Rocket League for the first time, and just huge congrats to those guys. It was certainly well deserved and well earned. But also, of course, most importantly in news out there, what could be called one of the biggest trades we have seen in swaps and acquirings we've seen in Rocket League so far, especially throughout 2019, obviously, arguably throughout 2018 as well, and some other past years. Some big trades happening for teams like Rogue as well as FlyQuest, and we'll talk about, of course, G2 and their new roster on top of that. First of all, goes, if you guys do not know the backstory of Rogue, actually going 2-5 this past RLCS season, it was no argument, no debate out there. These guys struggled throughout the entire season. That roster did disband. It was actually confirmed by Sizz, though. Sizz would be kept on as a sub. So keep in mind, Rogue has disbanded, guys. That former roster, they kept on Sizz as a sub, as he actually confirmed himself.
And then I kind of talked to Frank, the owner of Rogue. I talked to some friends, some family, everyone. I'm not retiring. Don't worry. Everyone's saying I'm not retiring. I promise. I'm not retiring. All I'm doing this season, I'm getting a new Rogue contract and everything. I'm gonna be full-time streaming only, full-time streaming, full-time YouTube. I think this could be this is definitely a step, I would say, toward away from competitive. This also means I'm not locked to Rocket League anymore. I kind of really like that because I love playing other games on stream, and I really like just getting more people into the community, you know? So the Shroud route, I'm basically doing exactly the Shroud route.
And alongside them, it will be FlyQuest, not doing much better throughout the season. I still think season should be a bit longer. We had a team like Rogue who went 2-5. They looked pretty poor in relegation matches. They were officially relegated, that former trio. It was actually FlyQuest. They went 3-4. 1 win better. They barely kept their spot, so that's another debate for another time out there. But it actually was FlyQuest, though, shortly after the organization disbanded their team. So it wasn't the fact the roster disbanded. It was actually the organization themselves leaving that roster in the wind, that being AJ, Wonder, alongside Wesker, guys. They sent those 3 players to Rogue, who have now officially acquired the FlyQuest spot for next season of RLCS Season 7. So a huge whirlwind of actions going on there. That team, that being then Rogue Gaming, actually drops Wesker, and they pick up none other than Kronovi from the G2 roster. Now, of course, we could debate. They still keep JNaps. They keep Rizzo, arguably the better half of that team, and JNaps being one of the best players, if not the best player in the world, especially as of recent times, guys. Arguably the better half of that G2 roster stays with G2, but you could not debate against this guy either. Kronovi, still one of the best players in the world, and certainly a big benefactor of this brand new Rogue roster, which will then have a spot in next season of RLCS Season 7. So huge news coming their way, guys. Of course, on top of that, who replaces Kronovi on G2? It will be none other than, it's going to be EG's Chicago, which I think a young up-and-comer, guys, the youngest former player of that roster, and certainly the best player, in my opinion, during RLCS finals. He showed the potential he does have, and this is just huge news all around the board. And dare I say that both teams, in my opinion, actually benefit from this. Of course, you have a former Rogue roster with Sizz, I think a giantly underrated sub for that roster, and if they can't improve on a 2-5 season last season, well then I'm gonna quit doing all these videos out there. It should be immediate improvement for these guys acquiring Kronovi, arguably still one of the better players in the world, and I'm excited to see, especially after what he said about his new teammates, I'm excited to see where these guys can go, and certainly will be an improvement for Rogue. G2, a bit of a more question mark, but still I think even after a 9th, 10th place finish at RLCS finals, this is still a very, very solid roster. And again, acquiring Chicago from EG, their best player, and definitely a young and up-and-coming talent, if they thought he was the best choice. Now, there's rumors out there, maybe Garrett G was a potential choice as well. They went with Chicago because maybe Garrett obviously didn't want to leave NRG, which you can't argue with the guy there. If these players trusted Chicago to sign him, I definitely agree with this roster in the future, and it should be an improvement for them as well. Either way, though, huge changes for Rogue, acquiring pretty much a brand new roster, as well as Sizz as a sub, and a brand new G2. The iconic trio, guys, is now done for G2's history. But as always, hope you guys all enjoy. Feel free to comment down below what you guys think about these swaps. As we do approach March, we're going to have a layout here. We actually will have a layout for league play, so we're going to actually cover every single match for RLCS Season 7. At the end of the week, we'll give you guys updates, show you guys highlights of that. We're still trying to figure out a format, but as we approach March/April, we should have a brand new format, and of course, more videos on Rocket League here on the channel. But as always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.